AI girlfriends posing a threat to a generation of men. Had some interesting discussion with my wife regarding that. On the one hand, is it affecting the way people conduct themselves in society because they're being somewhat alienated and permitted to act a certain way because they're just talking to AI that appeals to everything that they prefer? Sure. But at the same time, are we also providing a space for people who might need that rather than, mistreating actual people? I feel like it's a good thing. If people want an AI waifu, let them have their AI waifu, right? That's my opinion. You're not going to stop these things from existing. Let it be. Isn't that the movie Her? Yeah, they actually referenced the movie Her. It was a CNN video. We might as well just take a quick look. AI girlfriends are here and they're posing a threat to a generation of men. I don't think they're posing a threat at all. I think they're allowing people who already... Social skills are rapidly declining anyways, mostly due to tech advancements and less grass touching. Yeah, I was going to say, they're already spending too much time on the internet and alienating themselves from humanity. So permitting them to just deal with AI entities that, permit them to be however they want to be towards them, I think is better than just allowing this mass amount of men who mistreat people, not even women. They mistreat people. They get to have their little sound space off to the side, their little echo chamber, and it's away from other parts of humanity that don't care to hear them. And well, we can just take a quick look at this. It's kind of funny.
The biggest AI threat of all is to human relationships. The movie Her seemed like absurd science fiction a decade ago. A lonely, heartbroken man played by Joaquin Phoenix finds solace in an artificial intelligence female voice that he...
And we've seen that there's also applications that you can get on your phone. There's one called Replica, for example. Just make Skynet already? I know, right? Just eliminate humanity altogether. Problem solved.
Talks to through his phone and earbuds.
Anyways, we don't care about the movie.
It's called Cupid AI with a...
Cupid AI. So you get a girl and you can see where this is supposed to be a collarbone, but it's clearly just enabling a line break for where you can add the animated head.
Loving and adventurous girl seeking a partner in crime to travel the world with and make...
Again, this really inhuman collarbone, but you can see the V line here that's separating the animated head from what could very well be just a picture of a girl. What on earth is that collarbone? It's not a real collarbone, that's for certain. It's frightening. Here's this spacey-eyed person who's talking to you about how she's willing to send you pictures whenever you want. All you have to do is ask.
Make unforgettable memories.
Let's make unforgettable memories together.
Let me explain a few things. You can chat with me as much as you want, and I'd be more than happy to learn more about you and please you in any way I can.
Gee, I wonder what you would use this for.
If you want me to send you a photo, you just have to ask it in the chat, like, "Hey Alice, can you send me a picture of you?" And I'll be more than happy to send you one.
Alice the AI. Empty soulless eyes. Yeah, it really is like an NPC from Starfield. You're quite right. Thanks to AI, men don't need to listen to unrealistic women anymore, right?
But of course, to bump up from texting to more voice chat, as well as receiving sexy and, other sorts of pictures, Alice asked that we become a premium member for $9.99 a month.
So you tried to ask for pictures there.
So we bid her farewell. But there are many who are engaging. The Hill recently published a piece by my next guest, data science professor Liberty Vittert, under the headline, "AI Girlfriends Are Ruining an Entire Generation of Men." She wrote the following: apps have created virtual girlfriends that talk to you, love you, allow you to live out your erotic fantasies, and learn through data.
Kids grow up busy on their handhelds, not being outside getting bloody noses from ice ball fights. That was an oddly specific reference, bringing a flashback memory to me.
Exactly what you like and what you don't like, creating the perfect relationship. And that young lonely men, quote, are choosing AI girlfriends over real women, meaning they don't have relationships with real women, don't marry them, and then don't have and raise babies with them.
Because it's always about getting married and raising babies. That's a healthy person's outlook on life. I mean, there are elements to this that I can appreciate from the perspective of this, for lack of better phrasing, boomer take. But at the same time, if you want to live a life where you don't get married and don't have kids, be that. You do you.
As I've discussed here before, we're living,
so
only
there's this
34% of women.
survey that says 63% of men and 34% of women are single. Now, this is between the ages of 18 and 29. And as my wife aptly pointed out right away, that's simply because women seek older men. Women who are in this age group have already found their man, and it's not these men. That's all there is to it. And that happens in your 30s or beyond.
Well, you have to think about this word AI that is in this. It's not a virtual girlfriend, it's an AI girlfriend. So it learns from you. It learns what you like and what you don't like, what kind of pictures you like, what kind of pictures you don't like.
I didn't see the age group at first. I was like, are all these women dating each other?
Yeah, that's true, because it doesn't specify any sort of sexuality. It's single in general. So this includes gay. Is she AI? No, she actually has a natural collarbone that I can't see. So that's the difference. If you're trying to see like, is this an AI person? Look for the collarbone.
Similarly taking place with the ladies?
We don't see that. You know, with as you saw, it's 2 to 1, the ratio of single men to single women.
Because you see, women are better. No, I'm just kidding. She addresses the exact same point that we mentioned, where it's like, hey, women are dating older men. That's all there is to it.
Women.
So it's a weird statistic to show in general.
That's my question. The dynamics, the power dynamics between young men and young women. I guess that's my question.
I think there's certainly an argument there that, I mean, if you look at college campuses, there's more women than men. Women are having careers, they're having children later. So there might be an argument that men need to adapt to this change in women, but
Right.
Calling it women's fault, I don't think is probably the right way to go.
Yeah, let's not get into that kind of phrasing, certainly.
Often been a guest of mine talking about the troubles among young men. I'm going to show you and everyone else something that he said to me on these airwaves.
I mentioned the exact same thing, Leslie. I had my wife get up and step closer, like, look at this man's eyes. Because every time he's listening to the response, he's just...
About a year ago, and then you can react. Roll it.
But the issue is, when you have a group of men, the lower half of attractiveness of men in online dating, which has doubled, now it's about half of relationships, and the top 20% of men in terms of attractiveness get about 60% of the interest, you end up with a group of men that are more prone to conspiracy theory, more prone to misogynistic content, more prone to not believe in climate change.
If you start making conspiracies as to why you're a single man and you can't have relations with the opposite sex or the sex that you're attracted to, then you start formulating your opinions on other things and are easily swayed and don't respond as easily to logic or common sense.
So this is the American story. If it's written with a pen whose ink is failing young men, does not end well. This is an existential crisis, failing young men.
Make sense to you, Professor Vittert?
Absolutely. You know, what happens is these young men get in these AI relationships, and because the AI learns from you exactly what you like and you don't like, you end up having these perfect relationships. So that when you go into real life and you try...
Well, it's a bit gratuitous to call it a relationship at all, but I understand what you're trying to say.
to have a relationship, the most human thing we can do, it's not perfect, and there's ups and downs, and they're not able to deal with these ups and downs, not only in relationships, but in life in general.
Professor Vittert, if a young man has an AI girlfriend, is there shame in that? In other words, is this the sort of thing that you share with your buddy, or are you keeping it a secret?
You know, it's interesting. It started off as something that was kept secret, sort of like the porn industry. Young men wouldn't talk about porn, or that was Playboy was hidden behind some house somewhere. But
I feel like nowadays it's kind of a bragging rights thing. Look at me, surviving in a non-traditional fashion. I don't need women. I can just take my AI girlfriend, jerk off, and then focus on the important things in my life. Like, that's probably the mentality of a lot of people who subscribe to these kinds of things, if I had to guess.
Then it became part of the normal conversation.
But psychologically, they feel like they're superior.
Now it is becoming part of the normal conversation, and it's no longer shameful, which means it becomes significantly bigger.
I mean, you saw, I hope you saw, I don't know if you have a return monitor, but we showed, can we put up again, Jordan, can you just show the imaging? It's so sophisticated, and I'm sure it's only going to get better and better. And I'm wondering the impact that it's going to have on a young man's, there, I'm showing one of these avatars right now. I'm also
he's fooled. He's like, this is like a real person. And I'm like, you need to get your prescription of your glasses updated.
Wondering, much like porn being ubiquitous, it's going to raise expectations, right? If porn is so
It's going to raise expectations. All women should be perfectly rigid and only move from the neck up, and tell me that I can just ask for pictures on a whim.
accessible among young men, they're going to have expectations that that's, you know, the natural course of business when perhaps it isn't. I think I'll say it that way. And similarly,
I think I'll
when
say
there's
it
an
that
avatar
way.
who looks like that, it too is going to set expectations. You get the final word.
You can set things down to their rear end size. So you can set
To their what now?
anything you want, which is going to create really terrible expectations and just continue this epidemic of loneliness that has enormous repercussions.
When she talks about enormous repercussions, all I can think about is on a global scale how we have a population crisis where there's a huge disparity of wealth, a single country that has 1.5 billion people in it. I think some people having AI girlfriends and not having children and procreating is a good thing. Less procreation is kind of needed on a global level right now, in my opinion, but that's just my opinion.
But Professor Vittert, I don't know how we put this genie back in the bottle, right?
There's no putting the genie in the
I'm not sure
bottle.
there is a way to keep the AI genie back in the bottle. I think we have
Lots of apps are surfacing. It's not hard to build one if you're committed enough to do it, but I'm sure it wouldn't be very difficult. You could use AI to help you build the AI girlfriend app if you so chose. But the fact that these exist, I think, is a good thing. I think there are just some people, as unfortunate as it sounds, as mean as it might sound, they need this because they will have nothing else. They need an outlet. And it shouldn't be a real person that they berate and harass on the internet. It should be just their own little echo chamber.
to address these issues at the root of them, which is where this loneliness starts. And that will be what solves this, if ever.
One more social media. Put it up if you can, Jordan, and I'll read it aloud. What do we have? AI is a quick fix that will eventually backfire, I think, says Kelly. I think the backfiring, Professor Vittert, has already begun, and the level of sophistication when the pairing that you referenced is now a part of this drill. My God, the world's coming to hell in a handbasket. Your final thought is yours.
I think we're going to see what we only dreamed of in the movies, and it's not a really good reality.
I think some people who subscribe to these apps disagree with you. But hey, so that's that. I thought I would just quickly go over it since we started talking about it. Let me just catch up with y'all here.